Okay, here we have your Singer Futura that was sent in due to the feed dogs not properly feeding the material. We've slightly adjusted the feed, and the feed is supposed to sit at a slight about 1 degree angle. The rear should be higher than the front feed, and this is normal. It's supposed to have more feed in the rear to eject the material out of the rear of the machine. And we're going to test it here with several different weight fabrics and make sure that it performs as it should. And as you can see, it's feeding the material just fine. The stitch is perfect, and we'll go ahead and do a zigzag stitch. And it's feeding that just fine. Usually, if there's any problem with the feed timing or anything such as that, when you're doing a stitch such as the zigzag, you'll see this material moving or trying to move as it's being fed through. So whenever we see the material feeding just as it should with the stitch, then the feeding is fine. I'm doing a stretch stitch here. It's doing 2 stitches forward, 1 stitch back, and again it is feeding the material just fine. Two stitches forward, 1 stitch back. It's basically going over that stitch 3 times. And if you have a feed issue with your machine, if you do that particular stitch, that's where you end up having problems. You'll see it's not balanced or something, but this stitch is perfectly balanced. The triple zigzag stitch here. Now, that was kind of a thin starch material. Now we're going to perform sewing on. We have a kind of a stretch polyester material here, and we'll go ahead and do just a regular straight stitch, and it's feeding the polyester just fine. We'll go ahead and do one of the triple stretch stitches here, and you see it's doing 2 stitches forward, 1 stitch back. It's going over that stitch 3 times, and it's not crabbing. What crabbing is the material pulls either to the right or to the left while sewing. It's not doing that. It's just going straight as it should be. It's almost like a front end alignment on your car. If you get any crabbing, that can indicate that you might need a feed adjustment, but it's pretty difficult to, I mean, these feet are pretty hard mounted to the machine, and it's pretty difficult to knock those off or to knock off the feed timing. I just adjusted them slightly to make sure they were gripping the fabric properly, and there wasn't that much of an adjustment needed. I just wanted to make sure it was 110%, and it's doing the 2 stitches forward, 1 stitch back. That's just another type of material we like to test on the machine here. We'll go ahead, and we have room for one more. We'll go ahead and do the 3-point zigzag, which again, the 3-point zigzag, if there is a feeding issue, this fabric would be jumping to the right and to the left as it's sewing. And as we can see, it's not doing that. It's just feeding right on through. And We have our nice stitching here, perfectly balanced. We'll go ahead and trim this because I'm going to include this with the machine. And there's our stretch sample, and here is our pink starch sample. And lastly, I like to see how the machine performs with a really thick material, and I'm going to have 8 layers of denim here, and we're just going to do a regular straight stitch here, and it's just wisping right through there, no right and left action, the alignment's proper. And usually if a machine has a feed issue, you'll definitely notice it with the thicker materials, because your presser foot is so high up that it's relying strictly on the bottom feed to feed the materials. So go ahead and do a zigzag here, no right and left action, it's feeding straight on through, which is normal. Nice perfectly balanced stitch. We'll go ahead and do the 3-point zigzag here. Here you would really notice if you had a feed issue, because this material would be moving to the right and to the left, which it's not. It's feeding straight through, and so that means the feed is perfectly aligned, and we have a nice perfectly balanced stitch there. And let's go ahead and we'll do the usually I don't like doing the triple zigzag on thick material, but I really want to see how it's feeding forward and back. And as you can see, it's doing 2 stitches forward, 1 stitch back, and on this thick material it's doing an excellent job. This is a pretty precision machine, and is able to handle a difficult task like this. And it's just wisping right through there. Again, no left to right action. That's normal. We want it to feed straight through. I should be able to basically remove my hands and it sew a straight line to the most part. Some materials, depending on the material, will sometimes feed to the left or to the right a little bit, but for the most part it should stay lined up. We'll go ahead and trim the end off here, because I'm going to include this sample with the machine. And we have perfectly balanced stitching. And that is your Singer Futura XL 400.